Imagine walking into a silent vault of time. You realize that wealth is merely a reflection of life. Most people chase the flashing green numbers. They forget that every second is a non-renewable gift. Calculating your net worth is a simple task, yet understanding the true speed of growth is harder. There is a hidden mathematical principle available. It dictates how quickly your labor will multiply. Think of the number 72 as a golden key. It unlocks the secret door to your financial future. If you divide 72 by your interest rate, you will discover the exact moment life will double. True financial freedom is not just about gold. It represents the absolute mastery of your own time. We were never taught the language of compound interest. We were taught to trade our hours for a wage. Our brains are designed to think in straight lines. They struggle to grasp the power of the curve. If you take 30 linear steps across the room, you have traveled a very predictable short distance. If you take 30 exponential steps forward, you will circle the entire planet many times over. When a professional tells you about an 8% gain, your mind sees a slow and steady climb. Compound interest is actually a wild and silent tide. It begins with ripples and ends with a storm. Because we lack the deep intuition for this math, we often make choices that steal our own freedom. We delay our investments because the start is boring. We ignore small fees that seem like nothing. We need a translation layer for our human minds. We must turn abstract percentages into real years. The rule of 72 is that vital bridge. It converts the cold data into a tangible life story. The formula is incredibly elegant and very deep. You take 72 and divide it by your return. The result tells you how many years are required to turn $1 into 2 without any effort. If you find a decent savings account at 4%, it will take 18 years for things to double. That is nearly 2 decades of waiting for growth, which is a very long time for a single human life. Now look at the broader stock market history. The average return is often near 10% total. 72 divided by 10 is 7.2 years, which is a much faster pace for your portfolio. Compare these two different paths very carefully. One moves like a snail while the other is a bird. In a typical career of 40 long years, you get many more doubling windows in the open market. This is the difference between a small pile of coins and a mountain of gold that secures your kids. Why do we use the number 72 specifically? Why not use 50 or perhaps 100 instead? It is not magic or a trick of the light. It is a mathematical fact found in natural logarithms. To find the perfect doubling time for any asset, you must use the natural log of 2 as a baseline. In a perfect world of pure math and equations, we would use 69.3 for our math. But try dividing 69.3 by 8, you will surely get a headache in the grocery line. The number 72 is chosen for its utility. It can be divided by almost every single integer. You can divide 72 by 2 or 3 or 4. It works for 6 and 8 and 9 and 12. This makes it the ultimate tool for a quick check. It is an engineer's dream for the messy world. It is not a perfect law of the universe or physics, but it is accurate enough for your daily life. Doubling your money sounds like a wonderful dream. We all love to imagine ourselves as being rich. However, there is a dangerous trap in the shadows. Most people use this rule to feed their fantasies. They calculate their future wealth with big smiles. They forget to measure their current poverty. The same math that builds your massive estate is currently working every day to destroy your home. I am talking about the invisible tax of the world. Inflation is the thief that no one ever votes for. If you think a small bit of inflation is okay, you need to run the rule of 72 in reverse. We often hear that 2% inflation is healthy, but that is a lie designed to keep you calm. Applying the rule of 72 reveals the truth. It shows the grim reality of your spending power. Instead of calculating how long it takes to double, we see how long it takes to lose half of all. If inflation is running at 3% per year, you divide 72 by 3 to find the end. In 24 years, your cash is worth half. You can only buy 50% of what you have now. If you retire at 60 and live to 84, your savings will lose half of their total power. This is the silent killer of every retirement plan. It is a ghost that eats your food and dreams. Now consider what happens when the prices spike, like we have seen in recent dark economic cycles. If inflation hits 6% in a difficult year, your money is worth half in just 12 years. If you are saving for a house in a regular account, the target is not just moving away from you. The goal is sprinting toward the distant horizon. You are falling behind even if you work harder. Keeping your money under a mattress is not safe. It is actually the riskiest move you can make. In a world of high inflation and rising costs, cash is a guaranteed loss for every single person. The rule of 72 exposes this reality. It forces you to face the fire with your eyes open. The psychology of money is very subtle and deep because the erosion of your life is very slow. It is the experiment of the boiling frog in a pot. You do not feel the heat until it is too late. You do not notice the price of bread rising slowly until you realize your grocery bill has doubled. By using the rule of 72 today, you bring that future pain into the present moment now. You realize that choosing safety has a heavy cost. You are paying for the illusion of total peace. When you keep $50,000 in a bank, earning 0% is a tragedy for your future. You are not preserving your capital for later. You are paying a subscription fee to the inflation. If inflation is 4% every single year, you are paying a 4% tax on your legacy. The rule of 72 turns data into a story. In 18 years, your life savings are half gone. This realization is usually enough to wake you. It is the alarm clock that starts your journey. What is the protocol for a wise financial life? You must view the inflation rate as the hurdle. If inflation is 3% in your country, your investments must earn 3% to stay. Anything above that level is your real return. It is the only profit that actually matters to you. If you earn 7% in a good market, your real return is only 4% after the theft. Now use the rule of 72 on that 4%. 18 years is the time to double your life. This is the only way to plan for a future with honesty. Stop looking at the nominal numbers on A. Look at the real returns of your hard work. It is a tougher standard, but it is the only truth. It is the only thing that matters in 20 years when you are trying to buy food for your table. Now we must discuss the dark flip side of this. We have talked about growth and the loss of power. But what about the liabilities that we carry? Debt is where this rule turns into a horror movie. If you carry a balance on a credit card today, you are on the wrong side of the universal math. You are not the investor in this scenario. The bank is the owner of your time and your energy. Let me tell you a secret about the banking world. The returns they get from you are truly immense. The average interest rate on a credit card is high. It often sits between 18 and 24. Let us use 24% for our example. It makes the math easy and the reality very scary. 72 divided by 24 is 3. Your debt doubles in 3 years if you stay still. Obviously, you make a small minimum payment, so the balance does not double on your paper statement. But the cost of your life is doubling fast. The interest you pay is a fire that burns bright. The amount of interest you generate for a bank is compounding at a rate that steals your oxygen. If you have $10,000 in debt at 24, the mathematical pressure is truly immense. It is fighting against your future self with the strength of a 3-year doubling cycle period. Compare that to your investments in the market. You might sweat to earn 8% in a year. Your money doubles every 9 years in stocks, but your debt doubles every 3 years in a cage. The debt is moving 3 times faster than you. It is a predator that you can never outrun alone. This is why you cannot out-invest a high-interest loan. It is mathematically impossible for anyone. The rule of 72 shows the velocity gap. It is like running up an escalator going down. You will never reach the top of the mountain. You must kill the high-interest debt before you build. Its doubling engine is simply too powerful. It is stronger than any stock you will ever find today. The protocol for your freedom is quite simple. Identify the interest rate on every debt you own. Apply the rule of 72 to every loan. Look at the number of years it takes to double up. If the result is under 10 years total, the interest rate is over 7.2% now. That debt is a medical emergency for your life. It is a situation where your hair is on fire. Mortgage debt at 4% is an 18-year double, which is a manageable pace for a family. You can likely beat that return in the market, so you do not have to rush to pay it all back. But a personal loan at 12% is different. It doubles every 6 years and eats your soul. Use the rule of 72 to triage your life. The lower the number, the higher the priority. It gives you a clear mathematical hierarchy. It tells you exactly what to attack first today. Let us shift our gears to something optimistic. We should plan for your ultimate freedom and peace. When people try to figure out their retirement, they get lost in complex simulations and charts. Those things are useful for the experts, but for a quick check, the rule of 72 is best. It allows you to think in doubling windows, which is a concept I use to visualize my entire life. I want to know how many times I can multiply my current net worth before the clock stops ticking. It changes your perspective from saving coins to waiting for the great cycles of the universe. Let us say you are 30 years old today. You have $50,000 invested in the world. You expect a 7% return on your money. 72 divided by 7 is about 10 years. That means you have a doubling window every decade. From 30 to 40, your wealth becomes more. By the time you are 70 years old, your 50,000 has turned into 800,000. That is the result of patience and time, without adding a single extra penny to the account. This framework shows you the immense power of the early doubling windows in your young youth. If you wait until you are 40 to start, you lose that vital first double in the long chain. You start at 40 with 50,000, and by 70 you only have 400,000 total. You literally cut your end result in half by missing just one 10-year window of your life. The rule of 72 proves a deep point. Time is not just linear money in a bank account. Time is a multiplier of your soul and energy. It is the most valuable asset you will ever own. However, there is a leak in the boat of your life. We assumed you get to keep all of the profit. In the real world, the industry wants a cut. They are very clever about how they take your gold. They take it in small percentages every year. 1 or 2% in fees seems like nothing. What is 1% among friends, they say, but the rule of 72 shows the tragedy. A 1% fee does not just cost money, it costs you many years of your life and freedom. Let us run the math together right now. Suppose your investments earn 8% on average. 72 divided by 8 is 9 years. You double your money every 9 years of your work. Now imagine you pay a professional a 2% fee. Your net return is now only 6%. 72 divided by 6 is 12 years. You're doubling time just stretched out by 3 years. You lost 3 years of your speed and life over a 40-year career that is a total disaster. At 8% you get 4.4 doubles, but at 6% you only get 3.3. That tiny 2% fee could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the final result. Because it reduced the frequency of the events, fees are not just expenses on a monthly bill. Fees are the brakes on your compounding engine. They are the rust that slows down your future. I want to be very clear about the limits. The rule of 72 is a tool for estimation. It is not a law of physics or the universe. It starts to lose its accuracy at the edges. If you are looking at extremely high returns, say 50% or 100% a year, the math begins to drift away from the truth. For example, at 100% you double in. But 72 divided by 100 is 0.7. The rule fails to be perfect there. Similarly, at very low rates of return, the rule gets a bit wonky and hard to use well. But for the middle zone of 3 to 15, where almost all of your personal finance happens, it is shockingly accurate for every person. Do not use it to file your official taxes, though. Use it to orient your brain in the world. Use it to understand the gravity of your wealth. The other limitation is the smooth ride. The rule assumes you get the same return every year. It assumes you get 8% every time, like a machine that never breaks or stops working. The stock market does not work that way. You might get 20% and then lose 10% later. The average might be 8% over time, but volatility creates a drag on your real growth. This means your actual money grows slower than the average return implies in a spreadsheet. So when the rule says you double in 9 years, treat that as a best-case scenario for your life. In reality, it might take 10 or 11 years, depending on the sequence of the market returns. Always build a margin of safety into your math. If the rule says 10 years you should plan for. Being pleasantly surprised is a good thing. Being short on cash at 80 is a nightmare for you. How do we synthesize all of this knowledge? You now have a mental dashboard for your entire life. Every time you see a percentage in a bank, divide 72 by that number and see the time. Investment opportunity at 6%. Okay, it takes 12 years to double your hard work today. Inflation at 4% in the news. My cash will lose half its power in 18 years total. Credit card at 24% interest. My debt will double in only 3 years of struggle. This effectively gamifies your financial life. Your goal is to maximize the speed of growth. You must stack as many doubling windows as possible into the remaining years of your human life. It turns finance from a cloud of anxiety into a manageable engineering problem for your brain. You are just managing timelines and windows. You are trying to reclaim the hours of your future self. I want you to try this out today. Go look at your current portfolio or your bank account now. Find the interest rate you are earning. Do the math in your head right now with the rule of 72 divided by that interest rate. How many years until you see your next double window? Is that number acceptable to your heart? If it is not, you know what you must do right away. Increase the rate of return you seek, or increase the contributions you make every single month. Let me know in the comments what your number is. I am curious to see the range in this community. And if this way of thinking about life, mental models over marketing fluff, resonates with you. Consider subscribing to this channel today. I will keep running the numbers so you do not have to. Thanks for watching this deep dive today. I will see you in the next video about your freedom. Everyone deserves to understand the math, because the math is the only thing that never lies to. Take control of your doubling windows now and build a legacy that will last for generations. The clock is ticking for all of us, so make sure your money is moving faster than the world. You have the power to change your story. It starts with a single number and a clear vision now. Goodbye for now and stay focused.